Sox fans, welcome to Good Guys Talk Back, a local fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast, hosted by Nick Murawski and Pat Hester.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome back to Good Guys Talk Back. Hey, it's episode 330. I am Nick Murawski, and this is a fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast. We've been off for a few weeks, and boy, we've got a ton to get to. Some of it is old news, but it's news to us. The Sox Fest happening this past weekend. Sox continue to make moves. Spring training just a few weeks away. A lot of excitement on this end. I'm going to say that right now. Really appreciate you joining us here live on the Good Guys Talk Back YouTube channel. Subscribe, pass it along to other Sox fans in your life. Audio available wherever you find your podcast. With me, as always, my best friend, diehard Sox fan, Pat Hester. Hello, sir.
Nick, it's great to talk to you. You're a busy man. You're coming off a very busy weekend. I can't wait to hear all about your experience at Sox Fest and rubbing elbows with the elite of the elite with White Sox organization. And I'm excited, and a lot of people are excited. I mean, listen, I'm now in full swing of the baseball season, because as we've kind of tucked away the Bears season, and you get into February and you go, man, we got one more month to get through, and then it's March, one of the best months of the year. Pitchers and catchers report in like 10 days. It's here, baby. It's right at the doorstep.
Yeah. You know, I'll tell you, I don't think much of the Super Bowl that's coming up next week.
Not a big fan of that little thing that's the Super Bowl. Well, this one in particular, or any Super Bowl at all?
This one in particular.
Okay.
This one in particular doesn't do much for me. Let's get the Super Bowl out of the way, and then we could focus on baseball. But I'm kind of already there. In this past weekend, being at Sox Fest got me all kinds of excited. You know, I'm going to lay some stuff out here, Pat.
Okay.
Has kind of happened, and I'll probably miss some things. And folks maybe that are with us live can remind me. Because there's been a lot of different happenings, but of course, Sox Fest, you know, and they dropped a lot of, you know, stuff. The promo schedule came out. It was my first experience at the Ramova Theater, and this whole, the podcast row and everything that they're doing over there now. For alt media, so to speak. And I do want to talk about that, but you got that thing. You've got all the little moves that have been happening here by Chris Getz and company to check a bunch of boxes that have been on the Sox off-season checklist. And then, of course, the big thing, really, even though it's old news, is Luis Robert Jr. Headed off to the Big Apple. So you pick your poison, man. Where do you really want to go here to start things off?
Well, let's get the old news out of the way, and just your general thoughts regarding the Lou Bob trade. Again, it happened. I don't think it was earth shattering enough. We kind of knew it was eventually going to happen. We could have jumped on and talked about it, but it does signify a somewhat of a changing of a guard, if you will, and the last of the 2021 team is now gone, and we are officially turned the page on all players being of the future. So for me, it's almost like you can kind of take a deep breath going into spring training, knowing that's behind you, whether you got, you know, quality back or for what what you're asking for, it remains to be seen. But I'm almost just relieved that it's over, so we don't have to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, that's the kind of feeling, you know, that I had. And you had made a point about, okay, he's off the team, and nobody from that 2021 division championship team is left now, which is just kind of crazy to sit there for a little bit. And that's what I did after I heard this trade, just reflect for a little bit of, wow, that era, if you want to call it an era, that stretch of time is over now. That book is closed. And we'll always bring it up. Those that lived through it and followed the team closely, and boy, the ups and downs and the little success that we experienced and all the promises and all the nonsense, that's over now. And that's what I kind of wanted when this was teased several months ago. You heard these rumors of Sox want to move Luis Robert Jr. almost as soon as possible. They don't want to go into the season with him on the squad. And I heard it from a lot of Sox fans. Why not just keep him around, see what you might get at the trade deadline? That bat now with Murawski and Colson, and you're not going to get anything near what you think. And I hear all that, and to each your own. But I think you and I were on the same page of, I don't even know what we have in Luis Robert Jr. still to this day. A lot of hope, a lot of promise. When he's right, he's one of the more dangerous players in all of baseball. But the sample size that we had, I was very ready to move on. Let's just move on. Call it what it was. It was not a successful run. And let's just move all the way forward with what we have. And it hurts a little bit, but I'm glad it happened, Pat.
Yeah. My sentiment is exactly in that. And I think kind of we can just put that aside and put it to bed. And that's kind of where it is. And we move on to the future. And it's an exciting future when you think about it. I mean, I was telling you before we jumped on today, I'm reading some things here and there to get prepped for the show. I'm listening to White Sox Weekly. I was listening to you on Locked On Sox as you were on Radio Row, and just from what I'm reading, what I'm seeing, the trades that are happening even as of today, there's a lot of excitement in the air around this team, and I think and maybe that's where I want to go next, Nick, is kind of tell me your experience about Sox Fest, and because it sounded like coming through the microphone today, or from what I heard over the weekend, and what other players are saying, it feels like a good vibe, a good culture. People want to be around each other. Just what did you experience, from that aspect over the weekend?
Yeah, I'll definitely set the table. And by the way, thank you and hello to Sid and Scott and Howard and Trey, Jeff, John. Thank you so much for being with us live here and jumping in and sharing your thoughts. Yeah, there was a lot of excitement. This is something that I wanted the Sox to do for a long period of time. I've talked about it on this podcast. I've probably posted about it and ranted about, the fact that you've got these fan fests, and look, it went away for several years, but it's been back now, and you've got a fan fest, and why not let fans that are passionate about this team, that write about it, blog about it, podcast about it, talk about it incessantly, let them do your dirty work. Let us market your team. Let us, the ones that have been in the weeds for so many years, give us a chance, and they opened it up. From what I understand, it was kind of a sample at the end of last year. I think the last game, they might have allowed some folks to come in and do kind of a Radio Row, podcast row, whatever you want to call it. But this was the first time I think they really rolled out the red carpet for folks to have this opportunity on Friday and on Saturday. And Todd Welter, who's doing Locked On White Sox, he's been doing it for a while now. Good on him. He does a great job, and he contacted me and said, would you be interested? Bez, who does a lot of stuff, Besnick, who does a lot of stuff, I think, for Sox on Tap, does some great writing. He joined us as well, and I really appreciated the opportunity to join them. And we had the 108 guys next to us, and further down it was Future Sox, and then Sox on 35th. And it was just those tables right there. And we had opportunity to be with Connor McKnight, which I didn't think we knew we were going to get. And that was kind of an add-on, which was wonderful. Len Casper, Anthony Kay, and Paul Janisch, who, of course, took over what Chris Getz was doing in player development. And the Sox did a wonderful job organizing this. You were given, what you needed. It was ran on time. It was organized. You had somebody from the White Sox coming up to us explaining the order in which we were going to be talking to people. There was somebody that would kind of come by your table and give you like a 2-minute sign when you needed to wrap up, and everything ran real smooth. It was almost like I was thanking them and thanking everybody, and it was like, no, thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate what you guys are doing, and thank you. And that was, wow, what a difference over the last several years. Talking to so many different folks. When I used to do Lockdown White Sox, and I would talk to all these folks that did podcasting for their team in different cities, and they would tell me about what their fan fest would like and the accessibility they had to their teams. I was a little jealous.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the White Sox, we all know the White Sox have been behind the times in a lot of different ways, but that was one of the ways I needed the Sox to catch up. Okay. Get to know the folks that are talking about your team, have a relationship with them. And this was a great move. So we got to talk to Connor McKnight and Len Casper, who have seen this team closely for several years. And, I got the impression both definitely from Connor and from Len about this team. It just kind of felt like they ran out of time last year.
Yeah.
They just wanted several people we talked to Saturday night said, off the record almost, players would say to them, I kind of just wanted to keep playing. I like this group so much. I wanted to just, I knew we weren't really in it, but things were clicking and I just wanted to keep going. And I think you and I experienced that as fans watching this team, and so many other people saw that too in September I kind of want to see them gel a little bit more. I kind of want to see them continue to play. And that was really refreshing, because that made, in a weird way, that like justified what I was seeing. Like, okay, I'm not crazy. Mm-hmm. I saw something there. And these folks, who are doing it professionally, also saw that.
And I thought, I mean, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Nick,
but
I thought that's like the most, I guess, interesting or encouraging thing. I'll say encouraging thing that you hear about the team is despite 100+ losses, maybe they did, but in their heart of hearts, maybe they thought, I'd like to be around these guys a little bit more. I like to play a little bit more. I don't want to see it end. I'm not ready to go on vacation. I mean, that speaks volumes to the culture that this young group has kind of formed together, and hats off to Will Venable. I mean, what he's done, I wouldn't say it's the most remarkable thing in the world, but boy, the more I hear him speak, and just hearing that makes me feel like this is really going in the right direction. Seems like he's a good fit for this young group going forward.
Yeah. I've got a quote of the week from him that kind of ties some of that stuff and what I heard on Saturday all together. But there's a real chemistry conversation, and Paul Janisch, who is well aware of these guys when they were in the farm, and has enjoyed seeing them continue their relationship at the big league level, said as much. As these guys just like each other. And it's so awesome when they can lean on each other, because they're kind of going through everything the same, and they could check in with each other. And you need some vets and some guys that, and the Sox have that. We're not talking about guys that I think have got, a chip on their shoulder that are going to ice young guys out. And there's going to be some crazy clicks like we heard in the last era, so to speak, of guys that might not want to give young guys the time of day. I don't think you're going to have that. Your vets are like Davis Martin, which is crazy. So the more I heard Paul Janisch talk about almost the streamlining that's happening in the organization right now. You got the two-headed monster gone in Hahn and Williams. And no matter what you think about Chris Getz, it just seems like things are, at least there's one message, and things are lined up all the way top to bottom. And that is refreshing. And again, hearing, the excitement for other guys like Schultz and Smith and Montgomery, and then of course we talked a lot of number one pick and what that could look like with Rock, and the influx of shortstops that the White Sox have, which is never a bad problem. That was boy, you just kind of wanted to start watching this team. Like I was like, man, I wish opening day was like next week. I'm ready to watch these guys play.
Yeah, it's again, you could feel it coming through from your broadcast, the excitement. I'm curious of the folks that you got to talk to, who was the most interesting and to talk to, and maybe what was the most interesting thing that person said.
When we got the chance to talk to Anthony Kay, who of course in a way for a lot of Sox fans is like Eric Fetty 2.0. Okay, he's it was with major league teams, Toronto, the Cubs, went away, and internationally and worked on some stuff over there, and is ready to try it again here in the bigs with the Chicago White Sox. And we saw how that worked with Fetty, and I just am tired of flipping guys. I know we still need some things, and there could be guys that are on this team that we'll talk about, probably Dominguez in a little bit, that you might say, oh, well, he's going to be a rental. I wonder who he's going to be playing for when games matter. I don't want to have that mentality right now. As crazy it sounds, I like what we've got going on here. But anyway, Anthony Kay, who I'll tell you what, he is, maybe 3 inches shorter than me. So I put him at like 5'11", 6 foot.
Okay.
You would never, you'd run into him at Jules or something. You wouldn't know that that's a major league pitcher. Okay. Just nothing against him at all. He just
didn't say this to him, did he?
No.
Did you just say, hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Nick. You're not very impressive.
Visually, I'm not getting it. I'm not buying the optics here, sir. No, very unassuming, but boy, what a nice guy. So down to earth. And Bez, Sox Insane, wrote an article this past fall about, hey, if the Sox are interested, I've been watching this guy Anthony Kay, and it'd be if he's interested in coming back to the bigs, the Sox should look into him. And here they go, and they actually bring him, and Bez gets to talk to this guy. And I just found it really interesting hearing from him, about his he's got like 5 pitches, Pat, and he's working on a 6th pitch, and talking about unlocking this sinker, and how he kind of felt like, okay, when that started working for him and he was getting the ground balls. And I just love talking pitching, that. And when I get a chance to talk to a guy that has kind of reinvented himself, and but hearing him talk, like almost like he mentioned, like this is a revenge tour. And I think he either mentioned it as for himself, of like, I'm coming back and I'm showing people what I've been working on, and I've got, I'm taking names. And I think he also meant it for the White Sox. We took it on the chin for a couple of years now, and there was a little bit of edge in what he was saying and talking to us on Saturday night. Hey, he spoke about Murawski, which was really interesting. And he faced Murawski, I think 14 times. Murawski was 6 for 14. He kept him in the yard, but he, looked me in the eyes and just said, and this is Anthony Kay, just the power is unbelievable. I mean, he's going to strike out. Okay, you're gonna, and then in Casper even talked about Kyle Schwarber comps, and that was another thing that you heard from a lot of people is Murakami has got ridiculous power,
Well,
and
the people were just throw around the 40 home runs like it was
yeah,
nothing. Like probably like 35, 40 home runs,
yeah,
maybe 50. It was like, okay, we're just gonna that's just very casually throw around. And that was even mentioned too. I think somebody when they were talking about Colson Montgomery, maybe like
yes,
35 to 40. So again, for a team that has been not the biggest power hitting team over the past 5-6 years, that's a huge difference when you're talking about how you're going to construct a lineup if you have that much potential. I can't wait for our prediction show, Nick, when we actually do predictions on home. We're going to be like drunken sailors, just a billion home runs. They're going to score more runs than they've ever scored in their lives.
Again, like we're talking about some names here. Like, let's be honest, that do not jump off the paper, and people are running to go, get tickets and get season tickets, but talking, off camera to some guys on Saturday night and other people that I was running into from some other wonderful podcasts, and so there's so many people that do great things, and it was my attitude is this team, this group of guys, they don't know enough to know enough. They don't know that they shouldn't be good. Okay, now obviously talent is talent, but there's something to be said about a group of guys that like playing with each other. They like playing for each other. That can rub off on one another. And we've always said this, the marginal stuff, playing the game the right way, fundamentals. The Sox are going to have a better bullpen. They're not going to have all these one-run losses, these implosions. That's not going to be the case this coming year. Sure, I'm worried about their starting pitchers, but like there's just why not? Why not when you've got guys that actually play the position? Why not see what this group can do?
It was interesting, and for those that haven't had a chance to listen to it, I would highly recommend you go to Locked On Sox, listen to the most recent episode where Nick was on, and I'm part of Podcast Row. I did today, and one of the just going back to what you were just talking about when you were talking to Lynn Casper, and I think the conversation came up of the question to Len was, Len, what is your thoughts on the Dodgers and how do you do that? And the comp was back in the early 90s. It was the big bad Yankees. And then it's like, but here comes the Florida Marlins at the time. Nobody knows. But all these young guys that were on that team that won that World Series, you look back and you go, wow, that was a great player. And that was a great player. And that was a great player. There's some things that you could, in the moment, you mentioned the roster, it's a projected to be a 63 win team or whatever it is right now. You could look at the roster that way. I don't. I look at the roster as this is a young budding, possibly have a couple superstars on it type of team. And there's a lot of excitement there. So again, to me, if you got some time before on your work commute tomorrow, and when you're done with this podcast, you click on Locked On Sox. You can't get enough Nick Murawski in your life.
Well, Pat, thank you very much, and I got no problem promoting other podcasts, folks that are doing great stuff. There's no egos here. And Todd's doing a really great job over there. He's hustling, and want to thank him again for inviting me to be part of that experience. I hope it continues. I hope the Sox keep doing that year after year and building those relationships. But it got me really energized for this upcoming spring training and season. And, this was just after the Austin Hayes move.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Austin Hayes, primarily a left fielder. We've got a big bag of money out there in left field at this point for the White Sox. That that'd be an expensive DH. That'd be an expensive bench guy. But hopefully Austin Hayes can make some transitions over to right, get his time in Arizona. Because, obviously Benintendi's out there in left right now. And that's the guy, Pat, that you kind of forget about. And if you're looking to move on now from somebody else, I think there's a lot of people talking about like, well, let's just move on from Benintendi now. Let's get him out of here.
Is this Austin Hayes? No, this is a 1 year, $6 million deal for Austin Hayes. It's not like, you gave him a several years. So this might be a little bit of a stopgap anyway. We'll see what the future holds. But yeah, I'd like to think that, there'd be a way to maneuver and get out of that, not get out of the contract, but move on from a Benintendi. But I just don't see what kind of trade value you have in Benintendi. I guess I would just hope for, and Andrew was, I don't know if I don't have the stats to back this up, but I think that he played a little bit better last year in left field than he did in years previous. I could be wrong. It seemed to be a little bit better out there. And I don't know. I've never played any kind of position, certainly not an outfield position at the major league level. I'd like to think an outfielder could move from one corner to the other, and it wouldn't be that difficult. I think it'd be more difficult to play center. But that's just my observation as a fan. So I'd have to think they brought him in here to play right, don't you think?
I would think so. And I look at it, and again, this is a horrible, bar to set it at, but this was the bar for several years. It's not Gavin Sheets. Okay, we're not trying to put Gavin Sheets out there.
It's it's a person that has gone out into the outfield and ran around with an outfielder's glove on.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of depth now with this White Sox team, and Austin Hayes, of course, that deal is because of some of the Luis Robert Jr. money. The Mets send us Acuna, so we get an infielder and we got, a 22-year-old arm. But they also, the big thing is that they took $20 million. Yeah. We're like, okay, we'll take that. And that was huge.
Yeah.
That was kind of unforeseen. And I think that was ultimately what Getz and company were trying to have happen. And with that money, you go and get Sir Anthony Dominguez, which I saw a lot of stuff. And I think I maybe raised my eyebrows a little bit of really on this type of team. Like we're going to have a closer like that on a team that, might win 70 games. Interesting. But that was a need that had to be addressed.
Yeah.
How many times did we talk about if this team could just lock down games? That's a 10 to 12 game swing from last year. So that's exciting. So money was spent there. You go get Austin Hayes, the Jordan Hicks move, and with David Sandlin, from the Red Sox just a few hours before we started to record. Hicks probably could be looked at in a reliever position. There's some stuff happening. Boxes are being checked. Or is it what people wanted? And is it the superstars? And of course not. Aside from Murawski, I don't think there was a lot of other moves that really jumped off of, oh my goodness, I've got to go over to Grandstand and get a jersey made immediately. But it's the needs. It's filling in the needs and surrounding this young core that you've already built.
Yeah. Well, you know what, speaking of, and you're absolutely right. And Stanlin, was number 8 in Boston's number 8 prospect for the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Prospect. We've been fooled before by top prospects from the Boston Red Sox. So I don't want to get overly excited about that, but we shall see. That's always good to continue to gather up young talent and assets and bring in guys also that can help in the immediate future. So again, my hat's off to Chris Getz. I think you and I probably mocked. I think a lot of White Sox fans mocked the Chris Getz hire and in the onslaught, but I really can't. Not everything he's done has been perfect, and no GM is. But I'll go back to something you said earlier. It seems to be a singular vision from Chris Getz. There's no other person, pulling things behind the closed doors, behind his back about what you can and can't do. And I'm going to talk to this person only about trades and, undermine your authority. It's Chris Getz's show. And I like the way and the direction of this organization at the moment under his rule. And I'm a little bit interested, and maybe this is off topic a little bit, Nick, and because you brought it up briefly a moment ago when we were talking about Benintendi and where do you play him in DH. I think DH is going to be something that's going to be a little bit of my concern of how do you fill that spot, because where is Moon going to eventually play? Is he playing first or third, or is he your DH on most cases? You've got two catchers that probably need to be in the lineup most days. So there's someone that needs a DH spot. I don't really think you have the luxury of putting Andrew Benintendi as a DH because of the guys I mentioned that have better bats that you need to have in there over Andrew Benintendi.
Yeah. Those are problems that I didn't foresee at the beginning of the off season. And I thought, well, they're going to focus on this young core and they're going to see guys that might try to win positions, and they're going to take a look at young guys that maybe aren't ready, or take some flyers on some real no names, real bargain bin. And that hasn't been the case, so this spring training, this Arizona, where guys are really fighting, and I want to see some hungry battles, man. I want to see guys that are really fighting for positions and earning positions. And you think about Lenyn Sosa, a guy that was hitting the cover off the ball. Where does he stand?
What I think about Lenyn Sosa, I talked about it. I probably was the biggest Lenyn Sosa lover out there. And I know his glove at first was probably less than what you'd like it to be, but boy, oh boy, I really like how he came on and was one of your best offensive weapons. So I don't know. To me, it's a little bit hard to just kind of push that aside and not give him an opportunity. Now, outside of first, he did play a little bit in the outfield before, but that was kind of a train wreck, right? So, it's a really difficult thing to kind of come up with, I guess. But again, good problems to have.
Yeah, I of course I would like to see an established starting pitcher. I still think like a Chris Bassett, Lucas Giolito. I mean, there are a couple other names that were thrown around this past weekend. Wow, that would be nice. I'm not saying again it's going to be absolutely amazing and pencil the Sox in as a potential wild card team. I'm a little worried about the Shane Smith, sophomore slump. If he could repeat and just be someone consistent, and this is who Shane Smith is, a guy that, just completely rejuvenated things and has got the confidence and goes into this year, giving it like he gave it last year. Wow. We forget about him and how awesome that he was. And if some young guys, they make the step up, thinking about like a Schultz that we might see eventually. There's a lot of upside for me. I'm sorry. I've gotten to the point now where I can complain, and I will continue, and I will harp on things. But I just want to have fun. I want to watch the White Sox and enjoy them and feel like at least they're putting somewhat of a competitive product out there.
Yeah.
And I want to see players that want to play and that are excited to play. And you could just tell from like the promo schedule, Pat, that was released.
Well, okay. So we've gotten 34 minutes into this show and you haven't brought up the promo schedule. So that tells me, right? That alone tells me that the White Sox are doing the right things with their lineup and with their squad, because if they weren't, we would have let off with the promo schedule. So Nick, I know you've been chomping at the bit. Yeah. Tell me about the promo schedule and what you're looking forward to most.
Well, it's always the bobbleheads, you know.
Well, they're going youth movement as you tweeted out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean,
so.
they've got some fun stuff, you know, nothing like last year. Last year was such a great year for the stadium giveaways. If you care about it, if you're into it, if you're a collector, they really touched on the whole 125 years. You had some unique items from different eras, and there's still that, you know, there's some really unique stuff, and, you know, wearable stuff, and you know, things that fans will definitely line up for. The bobbleheads to me are really interesting because years ago when the Sox had youth, okay, and I'm not even talking like young all-stars or like up and coming, like it was just like we had youth that we knew as Sox fans and we thought that they might be sticking around for a little while. They never really got any recognition, you know, and maybe it's because we had guys like Chris Sale and Jose Abreu and before that Thomas and Canerco, and so they kept maybe some of the younger guys down because you had marketable guys already. I don't know. There's nobody else to market. So I get that. There's nobody else to market on this team. You have to lean in to your youth movement. You exhausted the whole 125 and the 20th anniversary of the World Series. I almost thought it was completely exhausted. And then I'll talk about the gem they're giving away, I think on Easter Sunday, but you're going to lean in, which is so different of a model than previous White Sox organizations. So you're getting a Miguel Vargas bobblehead. You're getting a Chase Mydroth bobblehead. You're getting a really sweet Colson Montgomery bobblehead, and then a tandem bobblehead of Edgar Caro and Kyle Teal, which is really, really cool. And I love the City Connects, you know, like the thing about the Luis Robert Jr. situation too is like we and the new City Connects, we got away from that South Side jersey. Now that South Side jersey was a very Tim Anderson era jersey. It was a good looking jersey. I own a jersey. That was a cool jersey in that era with that group. That group is gone. So I like that there is a 2.0 City Connect. This is their City Connect. You know, they're not going to be wearing the previous era's City Connect. You know, this young group has got their City Connect, and it is highlighted in these bobbleheads. But Pat, the gem is Bobby Jenks embracing AJ Brzezinski in that bobblehead on, I think, April 5th. I think it's Easter Sunday, day game. That one is really sweet.
Well, I can tell where you're going to be on Easter Sunday, right after Mass. Right. Sunrise Mass. There's Nick. He goes and gets communion and right out the door, like a good Catholic would do. Don't even wait around for the final song. I gotta go.
I know what the song's going to be because I already saw the, you know, what page number. So it's like, cool.
I'll just
sing it on my way out. I'll sing it on my way out. So it'll go Mass, bobblehead, ham.
Yeah,
that's
and that is a great title of this episode.
And so I got my Easter Sunday already lined up. It's pretty nice.
Seems like you got it all figured out. No, that is a great bobblehead. I know that you're by hook or by crook that will find its way into the collection of a Nick Murawski. That's great. A lot of great stuff, and I know you're excited about the bobbleheads and and those look like good ones. Anything else? I'm sure there's an Elvis night. I'm sure there's a Hawaiian shirt. Did you look at the Hawaiian shirt this year?
I didn't see a good look of the Hawaiian shirt, to be honest with you, Pat. I didn't see. I got to give a closer look to that. I hope they still have it. I saw that there is there's a lot of theme nights again. There was a really interesting like bomber jacket, like almost old like starter bomber jacket. Pretty cool poncho. I mean, there's a sleeveless hoodie, a Colson Montgomery sleeveless hoodie for that first Saturday, that first weekend series. So again, like leaning into the youth, leaning into these guys. And I think that's such a smart idea because you got younger fans. Hopefully you got young Sox fans, your sons, my boy is not quite ready to identify players and like know what, but get them interested in what the Sox have right now.
Yeah.
Have the bobbleheads, have the jerseys or the hooded sweatshirt or the whatever with these guys' likenesses. Some young Sox fan goes to a game and gets a, Chase Mydroth or Colson Montgomery bobblehead. And it's like, why, how did you become I got this bobblehead. I just became a fan of this player. I started following this. It's kind of how it is when you're a kid.
Yeah.
So again, that's why I like that the direction they're going there.
Something that Howard brought up in the chat a while back, and appreciate everybody that puts stuff in the chat. Nick and I sometimes don't get to everything you guys say, but I thought this is interesting. I wrote it down. Was there any stadium talk at Sox Fest this weekend?
Zero. That has been kind of eerie. That was the big hot and heavy last off season or 2 off seasons ago, that whole lot 78 and what's going to happen in the renderings and, the panic over they're going to be leaving Bridgeport and, they're going to go here. And now there's a little bit of chatter of Northwest Indiana or could maybe Arlington Heights. There was nothing. Nobody talked about it. Nobody brought up those questions. It was almost, and it was just kind of out of mind. And I don't know. It's just how the way things go.
Yeah.
I feel like we actually have kind of a team that people want to talk about.
And the stadium's not that important.
Right. Exactly.
It's almost like waking me up when either the Sox or the Bears have news or shovels in the ground.
Yeah.
For a new stadium.
You are right.
In this state, especially this city, there's too much red tape. It'll take 10 billion years before it gets figured out.
Yeah. It's not worth. I feel like when there's lulls and, and they'll probably, spike up at some other time. But right now, I think there's too much excitement of what the Sox are trying to build here and the youth movement in the offseason that they've had and, what's to come with the number 1 pick and hopefully some money. But look, that lockout is looming after this season. I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm trying to ignore that. That really didn't be brought. I mean, Len Casper mentioned it as the elephant in the room, and we all knocked on wood, and like, I hope that doesn't happen. But right now, I think 2026 is going to be exciting. I'm not saying, we're looking at a team that's going to be playing competitive baseball in September and sniffing anything for October play. That's not what I'm getting at, but you know what I mean. And Sox fans watching and listening, what exciting baseball is. And the brand that was being displayed and played last year in September down the stretch, that's what I'm hoping to see, on a larger scale for a longer period of time.
So we've got, you and I were talking briefly, opening day. And about, if you and I would get together for opening day, we usually try to. I mean, not every year it happens, but I would imagine this year it will happen. But I reminded you, opening day for the year is in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
How open are you to that idea, Nick, of taking the 90-mile drive up north to go to one of my favorite ballparks to go see a game at? Formerly Miller Park, now it's like Bank of America City Connect, whatever the heck it's called now.
I hope it's ballpark. I hope it's exactly that. Yeah. I am so open to that. I think that Saturday game is screaming my name. You and I have so many memories in that stadium.
Some of us more clear memories than others.
I mean, there was your bachelor party, or it was your bachelor party weekend. I had 2 Fridays and a Saturday night, all in one afternoon, and it was something else. And it has been documented, thankfully. That was a long time ago, but yes, we have we have seen a lot of things. Some have been told to me in great detail, but I was there for a lot of it, and I would like to, I would like to write another chapter in that book.
I think I'm going to put us down for 2 for that, and I think I'll put us down for 2 for opening day. Now, with your excitement and your enthusiasm, and things are different in lives now. You've got a great job, and you're a busy man, but spring training, if it was available to you, would you go out to Arizona for a week? You've done that in the past.
Yeah.
Does this, and you've gone there when the team didn't have any. Now, again, this may or may not be a team that's contending. They may not finish higher than third in the division. But I think you and I have expressed over 46 minutes the excitement we have for this team, just to watch the youth movement continue to grow together. How excited would you be to have an opportunity to go out to spring training?
Yeah, if things lined up with, kind of my spring break or my vacation time, I would have absolutely tried it, especially this year. When I went out there, it was, we were on Oscar Colas watch. That's when I was there.
I think I put you on Oscar Colas' assignment.
I think I might even been there for Hester Alberto. And the great Hester Alberto experiment, and if he can unseat Lurie Garcia for a bench position, like those were the times that I was there. And hey, I had a blast. The facility is outstanding, but there weren't a lot of great things to watch.
Well, I would love to go out. If I could make it work, that would be something that. Going out to spring training is one of the most enjoyable experiences that you can have as a baseball fan. You're getting out of the doldrums of a cold winter, as we've experienced. It's been an awful January and beginning of February, and like I said, we're turning the page. You're getting into March and driving out or flying out to sunny Arizona to watch your favorite ball club and watch some of these young guys, because not only are you going to see the players that are going to be there for opening day, but Braden Montgomery, I heard, got an invite to spring training. Guys like Tim Alco, some guys that may be on this team, maybe not on this team, but I think a guy like a Braden Montgomery, he could be, he may make his major league debut this year at some point. So that'd be a guy I'd love to go out and see play for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why you want to make that trip. And we thankfully get to add players to that list. Usually it's weather and, just get exciting for baseball, but to see some of those young guys and what they can do in Arizona for sure. I want to talk alumni home run derby in just a bit, because I saw that teased. I don't know if you heard about it. The Sox are trying to do this in, I think, July. But speaking of turning the page, the Sox have been one of the few teams to go without a sponsorship on their sleeve, on their jersey sleeve. And it was getting down to the last few teams that didn't have one of those, and that is over.
Okay.
The Sox have got a sponsored sleeve patch starting this season. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's the way of the world, Nick. That really doesn't bother me at all. You want to put a patch on. Who's the sponsor?
Is it CMO? Is that right?
I don't know.
A financial company.
Okay. Well, I don't know. As long as it's not, something that's offensive, I guess, to anything. Like, I don't know what you could even put on there that'd be offensive, but it is what it is. It's the way of the world, Nick. That's how sports have changed. This is just another thing of revenue opportunity for the organization. I don't really know what, if that helps or betters the club in any way, but if there's a way to market something and increase your revenue streams, I'm all for it. As a
CME group.
CME group. So it's not like Dickhead University, we hate everybody.com or something. Because that would be bad. That would be something
would
I
be
wouldn't want to.
that would be an odd choice. No, CME Financial Group, Chicago based. The joke was always like, well, maybe Jules or Vienna Beef or something,
Yeah.
or but CME is going to be the patch. Yeah, you can't stop what's coming. That's just how it is. I'm with you on all of that. It's just it's getting to be a little much. You got the Nike swoosh on the jersey on the front of it. And now you've got this sleeve patch. And when we were growing up, last names, and the Sox didn't have last names on jerseys when they first went to the black and white.
Yeah.
They did not have last names on their jerseys, on their home jerseys. They didn't have them back in those 87, 1990 jerseys. Okay, with that curly C, those jerseys that they wore during their last year at Old Comiskey, they didn't have names on the back. And even go further, the MLB logo, that wasn't on the back of a fitted cap when I was growing up. Like my first Sox fitted hat didn't have that MLB logo on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then that came along and I was like, that's a little tacky, but do you really need it? We all know they're playing for Major League Baseball. Like, do we need to have that there?
I almost forgot.
And then the New Era logo snuck in to the side of the cap. And for several years, every year, by the way, I get a new White Sox on-field fitted hat. I get a new one because I just feel like the black hat fades over and I turned it into like my mowing the lawn hat. Okay. So it's like you're retired now to yard work hat. And I've got my like game day hat. And for many years, I was taking an X-Acto knife and I was cutting the New Era logo. I was cutting the stitching. I was cutting the stitching off of the side of the hat. You had
such a problem with the New Era logo. You took the time to get an X-Acto knife and take it off of there?
It doesn't take that long. It takes about an hour. And you just
wait a minute. No, that is a long time to sit and fiddle with a hat for an hour.
You have the news on or something, and you've got tweezers and X-Acto knife, and
listen, I would advise you not to turn on the news if you have an X-Acto knife in your hand. Turn on cartoons.
You're right. So I kind of stopped doing that, and it was like, well, this is what they're wearing. It's just there's just logos are popping up everywhere, and there's going to be a pocket patch in the near future. Socks are going to have, their baseball socks are going to have patches. It's just, it's goofy, but yeah, that's where we're at.
I don't have as much, obviously I don't have as much of a problem with the patches as you do. As you're carving them out of hats. So
I didn't like them, and that's what I did with
you
them.
think somebody. I learned something new about you every week we do this.
I have a lot of idiosyncrasies. I've got a lot of quirks to me, and when I don't like something, I take care of it.
You are like an onion. Just lots of layers. Lots of layers to Nick Murawski.
Before we, get to the quote of the week and say goodbye, and this was a ton of fun, and I cannot wait to get into talking about what this team does in Arizona and how things start coming together. But the Sox talked about this alumni home run derby, and Howard reminded us here in the chat that it's going to happen on July 11th, the same day of the draft. And you've got, I don't think they released any names, but alumni, home run derby. That's a cool idea. And just off the top of your head, can you think of like your 5 to 10 that you'd love to see in an alumni home run derby?
Well, you think of, so one of my thoughts is Paul Konerko, but seeing him taking a bat at the Savannah Bananas game, it didn't look so good. Didn't look so good out there.
Yeah.
So, what I would worry about, Nick, is and I'm sure that maybe the fences get drawn in a little bit. You have some fake fences put up, or you use some juiced up balls. I mean, you've got guys that are now older. You couldn't expect them.
Give him an aluminum bat. I don't care. Give him an aluminum bat.
Well, you got to have Paulie. You got to have Big Frank. Wow. After
the legend Jim Thome, White Sox legend.
Well, Slugger Jim, that would be good one. That's another good one. Let's put Jim Thome in there. And why don't you bring back an Adam Dunn?
Oh my. I don't know.
Does he qualify as an alum?
Well, sure. Yeah.
I mean, okay.
If you played for the White Sox, you're qualified.
Yeah. Let's put Adam Dunn on there. I mean, he had 40 home runs that one year, didn't he?
He might have. I think he hit his 400th home run of his career with the White Sox.
How about an Albert Bell?
Oh, now Eric Carlson's he's having a moment right now.
How about one Sammy Sosa?
Okay. Now you're getting interesting, because I have got Manny Ramirez.
You could put Manny down there, and you could put Ken Griffey Jr. on there.
Ken Griffey Jr. Here's the one that I want, though. Here's you got to reach out to this guy. He seems to be just absolutely nuts online. Jose Canseco. Get Jose Canseco in this alumni thing.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 people. Can we get one more? Is there one more on here?
Bo Jackson.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so tell me that people aren't going to turn into this. Paul Konerko, Frank Thomas, Jim Thome, Adam Dunn, Albert Bell, Sammy Sosa, Manny Ramirez, Ken Griffey Jr., Jose Canseco, and Bo Jackson alumni home run derby with aluminum bats.
You're just printing money at that point.
I mean,
with aluminum bats. That's what I want on the poster in just neon orange with aluminum bats. You are going to sell out, my friends. You know what? Screw this Savannah Bananas thing. Just do these alumni home run derbies.
I mean, I'm showing up for this. I mean, I'm buying it. I will pay money to see this home run derby.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a who's who. I mean, they played like 10 games with the team, but I mean,
it doesn't matter.
This is some of the most juiced up players that ever played the game with aluminum bats. White Sox legends aside others.
And others. I think they're onto something here. I think this could be a good idea.
When do they announce who's going to be in this, and how is this?
Well, I should have asked some better questions. Well, if I had like Brooks Boyer or something, if I was able to talk to him on Saturday, that would have been a question.
Yeah. Okay.
Let us know when this is happening.
Well, this is a great idea. I'm all kinds of excited about it, but I don't think big is what I would tell Brooks, and I'd say just. Think of call Kenny. Kenny will be like, oh, I'll tell you who I want. Kenny Williams will be like, these are all the guys that I brought in that I wish I had when they were young. Yeah. Oh, he would be the perfect guy to ask.
Well, and maybe you could have, you could do some kind of team thing where, in the home run derby, you do the brackets and everything. Well, you could have Team Kenny. You could have Kenny, all Kenny's old guys that he finally was able to get in a White Sox uniform.
Team Kenny. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And you bring back to announce it, you bring back Hawk.
Oh my goodness. You have to, right? You absolutely have to.
I mean, if he can do one thing, and somebody can just tell him if the ball's out of the ball. He's not gonna be able to see. But he just has a proxy there. It's going do to put it on the board. That's all Hawk, people want to hear.
Hawk, they asked you to call this event. You can't see, brother. You're not
It
able
says
to.
here on the paper that you can't see a damn thing. Is that right, Hawk?
That is a heck of a reputation. You got called to do a home run derby and you can't see. They must love you over there.
Oh, mercy.
Oh boy. Well, that's the TBD, and we'll keep our eyes and ears on that and report back, really. But before I read this quote of the week, want to thank everybody for jumping in here on this Sunday night, February 1st. Hey, baseball is in the air. Baseball is happening soon. I think from my mind, this is going to be a fun team to watch. And now we just need to bank on health. Everybody's in the best shape of their lives, and
It's the best shape of their life season. Nick's my favorite time.
It is. So this was a lot of fun, Pat. This was a ton of fun.
Yes, as always, Nick. It's a great time. I am so psyched for the season now. Let's put all our money on 65 wins and over.
Yes, pound the over. Here is Will Venable talking about the Chicago White Sox, his team, and the chemistry. Last year, I came in, and it was my impression in spring training how connected they were when I was talking to them in the offseason. They just seemed like they were communicating well, that whatever they had been through before I got here had brought them together. I witnessed that on a daily basis throughout the season. Throughout this offseason, it's just continued to grow. We had guys working out together in the offseason. Some of them were living with each other. Just getting the group together and seeing that growth and leaning into that is something I'm looking forward to. Hey,
they're close. They're very close.
Is anything wrong with that? I just want them to be playing together well, and that is fun. That's just fun to hear and see.
I have nothing else to add. That was wonderful.
All right. Hey, folks, thank you so much. Subscribe to this, like this feed, pass it along to other Sox fans in your life. The audio available everywhere you find your podcasts. We're on Twitter X at Good Guys TB. Hey, for Pat Hester, I am Nick Murawski. Until next time, go Sox.